So Rob, tell us about Rule 4. People don't argue with their own data. Explain to us a little bit about that.
So Rule 4, people don't argue with their own data. And this is one, and I feel like leaders and sales managers kind of fall into this trap where, we're putting together, whether it's quarterly projections, annual projections, and, we write down a number and that's the number. And we hand it to the salespeople and say, all right, go get it. And it just never made sense to me. Who knows the territory? Who knows the book better than the person that's managing that territory? And they know the clients. And so, as this rule, I really took intimately to really understand and to put it in play. And I had an organization, this was probably 10 years ago. And the CFO walked into the room and put a number down on the table and said, here's what we need to drive to top line revenue next year. And my simple question back to him is like, I love it. I love the growth. What did the salespeople say? The people that are managing the territory? He goes, I don't care. He goes, that's the number we got to hit. And I said, well, just humor me. Let's go have a conversation. And we sat down with each one of those salespeople and talked to them about their territory and where they saw the expand opportunities, where they saw the new logos, the up-and-coming players inside of their territory that they were going to go after. And lo and behold, collectively, over an 8 salesperson team, their number was 25% higher, right, than the CFO's. And they executed to 33%. People don't argue with their own data.
And they probably have some ownership inside of that.
Exactly right.
So let's transition that rule. And I love that rule from a leadership standpoint.
Sure.
I mean, there's so much application from a leadership standpoint. But let's take that rule to the sales side of it.
Yeah.
Rule number 4, people don't argue with their own data.
So from a sales lens, what data we're really talking about. So typically when organizations have an issue or a challenge, they're losing something, whether it's revenue, lost opportunity cost, time, and we can quantify that. When we can quantify that, guess what becomes less of an issue, Rick? Price. Without that, price always becomes an issue. That's too expensive. That's more than we had budgeted. But when we collectively step back from the situation and understand how much it's costing in lost revenue, lost time, lost resources internally, I'm not saying price isn't a variable. It just becomes less of one.
Yeah, that's a great way to apply that rule. When I look at Rule 4, people don't argue with their own data from a sales lens, I really think about assumptions that salespeople make.
No, salespeople don't make assumptions.
Unfortunately, right? They have great conversations with people, and they make assumptions about that great conversation. And so, like, for example, look no further than the pipeline.
Sure.
We can sit there and see deals in pipelines that sit there for a long time. Now, a number of reasons why that actually might happen. But, the question becomes, what did the two of you mutually agree to as the next step? And oftentimes, salespeople make assumptions just because the conversation was going so great that there was going to be a next step. Well, the question never really got asked. To me, that's a great place for application of people don't argue with their own data. Maybe we should have asked that question. The other thing with that rule is, it's not just about hearing them say it, but now we have something to hold the prospect accountable to, right? Prospects don't often see accountability because, average salespeople don't ask the right questions.
That's right. And then it becomes a questioning strategy issue.
Absolutely. Or, it could be a questioning strategy issue for sure, but could it also be some head trash?
Oh, 100%.
Help us understand a little bit about head trash as it relates to rule number 4. People don't argue with their own data.
So when we think about rule number 4, people don't argue with their own data and head trash. When it comes to questioning strategy, I think there's some business development professionals that run around and think, well, I don't want to ask too many questions, Rick, because it will feel intrusive. But if we truly don't understand at an intimate level what's going on inside that person's world or that organization's sphere, can we really impact their situation? I don't think we can. And are we leading ourselves to susceptible to making assumptions where we believe we're working on one piece of scope of the work, but really the problem exists over here? And I think the salesperson's mission is to facilitate the conversation to get down to the true problem. And I think there's so many times that salespeople take what the prospect's saying at face value, but that's really just an indication of a deeper issue.
Which gets us back to rule number 1, which, is, sales is a conversation between adults about the truth.
That's right.
So God didn't put me on this earth to sell books. Now, there's nothing wrong with that profession, but that's just not my calling. You are welcome to purchase this book online, or you could head to our website and purchase the book as well. The reality is, if you'd love to have a conversation on how to operationalize the rules for the modern day buyer for your business, for yourself, Rob and I would love to have that conversation. So head to the website, fill out the Contact Us form, and we'll take the rest from there.